Yeah, well, I understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest. That's why.
What's going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here. Welcome to another episode of Indie Breakdown, the show where we break down your favorite indie comic book characters' power, stats, and abilities and get them ready for an eventual Indie versus matchup. Got another amazing guest here on today. We'll bring him right onto the stage, let him introduce himself, the character, and of course, the story. How's it going, boss?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good,
So, yeah, guys, I'm Keith Cross. I'm the author, creator, publisher of Day Black, and we are here to talk about my main character, Merce.
Okay. So, definitely read it today. I really like the art style. Can you talk about the inspiration really quick about it before we talk about Merce, which for some reason I kept calling him Mercy in my head. Merce. Yeah, give me a little bit of the inspiration there.
Yeah, well, I was a tattoo artist. I'm a retired tattoo artist for about of 22 years.
Oh wow.
So a big portion of the art style I think is directly derivative of just doing tattoos. A lot of people say the artwork looks like they could be tattoos or something like that, but I think that definitely bled over into my personal work, especially considering when I decided to make it about a tattoo themed book.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of leaned into that imagery to just kind of tie it in even more, you know. So definitely my occupation, and of course other artists like Mike Mignola, Ralph Bakshi, Wendy Penny. Like these are like some major artists that were really influential in my style.
That's amazing. I like what you did there. I don't know if you did it on purpose, but how just when you said like bled into that, I'm just like, okay. So with that being said, the main character is a vampire. Tell me a little bit about that and what all he can do.
Yeah, so Merce is a vampire. And I tried to switch it up a little bit, just because, you know, when you got a character like a vampire, there's so many tropes that you already know. So I try to do something a little fresh. But Merce, he has your typical vampire powers. As far as not being able to walk in the sunlight. Well, that's not a power, but as far as you know, eternal life, basically immortal, unless he's stabbed in the heart, not with a wooden stake in this world. It has to be the tusk of a leopard seal, which is made out of ivory. So ivory is the killer in this universe. And he can do things like fly like a vampire. He moves. He can kind of teleport through shadows. So if there's like shadows, and he could walk into a shadow and just end up somewhere else on another side of the world through another shadow, you know. Super strength, just like all the basic vampire stuff. Nothing too crazy, nothing too overpowered or anything like that. But yeah, that's it, man.
Okay, so with the teleporting through the shadows and stuff like that, I'm curious to know, is he able to control where he pops out at, or is it just kind of wherever the shadow takes him? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now we got to see that he had several careers throughout the course of this lifetime. Can you touch on first off how long he's been alive, and then dive into everything that he's done throughout the course of his lifetime?
Yeah, I would say he's probably been alive. He's probably been a vampire for like maybe 100 years. I would say he became a vampire kind of right at the tail end of slavery being abolished.
Okay.
So I always wanted to play with that he was like he could have been free. Well, I mean, as free as a black person would have been around that time, you know. Which wouldn't have been a whole lot of freedom, but he would have been free, but then he got delivered into another form of slavery, which was being a vampire. So I just wanted to kind of play with that. But what was the question, man? I'm sorry,
No, so it was how long has he been alive, and then we got to see several career paths, if you would, throughout the course of his life. What all has he done?
Right. So I was really inspired by watching Forrest Gump, and you know the little montage where we would see him pop up like in various little pivotal moments in history. So as I was writing it, and of course this is years and years later, but you know all your influences and stuff kind of come to a head when you start creating. So I started putting him in scenarios like, okay, he was, because I also knew I wanted to have spinoffs once it took off. I wanted to be able to like kind of branch off and maybe focus on Merce in this time period. So like, for instance, I had him being a member of Jimi Hendrix's band, The Experience, and like Jimi Hendrix stole his whole routine, and burning of the guitar on stage. That was all Merce's idea. Or just being with the first crew that set foot on the moon, like he was there. You know what I'm saying? And just little things like him being a figure drawing model, or him being a mechanic, or him being an assassin. I really just wanted to show him having a full life, because when we see him, he's really at a point where he's kind of having a midlife crisis where he's done it all. He's tired of killing people. He just kind of wants a new kind of lease on quote unquote life. And that was just another opportunity just for me to show that he's done it all. And now he settled in on being a tattoo artist. He was always an artist, even when he was a human. But this is the first time he ever really kind of exploited it. And he found out that out of all the professions, this is the one that he really loves, which is why he wants to make sure the town he lives in is sacred and protected and no other vampires know about it. Because he knows if they know, they're going to come and bleed.
It's over.
It's over. So he's just like, I like where I'm at right now. I can see living out the rest of my eternity here. So I want to make sure I protect it.
So, okay. Which I absolutely love that. And even the name, just Day Black, all of it just works. I love that. I want to know, in regards to, again, back a little bit on the previous professions, if you would, mercenary, astronaut. Like, obviously, he's very intelligent. Obviously, he's very skilled in all of that. Was there any kind of case that he's run into anybody? I'm only at the beginning of the story, if you would, right? Is there anybody outside of, say, your normal vampires that's on his level? Is he worried about the hunters, or is he capable enough with his experience to kind of overcome most of those threats?
I think he looks at them. I definitely think he looks at the hunters as a threat. Because they are a threat. They are a serious threat. This is something they've been doing. This is something they're like, this part of their heritage. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they're like hired mercenaries. Like, this is they're put on this earth to kill. They look at it like they're put on this earth to combat and kill vampires. So it definitely takes it as a threat, And what was the other question?
Oh no, well you actually pretty much covered it there. Just I was wondering, like, well, I guess now outside of the hunters, what is he like in regards to other vampires? Is he kind of a league of his own, or is he like right in the midst as strong as them?
Well, he's definitely an outlier.
Okay.
He is definitely he has all their strengths. But there's a reason that he isn't mentally there. There's a reason that he doesn't have that mindset that they have, and I don't want to give it away, but that's a pivotal part of the story.
Okay.
So it's not just like, oh, he's just alone, or oh, he doesn't feel comfortable. Like there's a reason why he doesn't feel comfortable in groups of vampire, because in this world, and like I think most vampiric lore, they always are in groups, or there's always two of them. There's always, but he's always been a loner. Like his whole term of being a vampire, he's always been a loner, and he liked to keep it that way, and we're gonna find out why.
Okay. Now, of course, talking about powers or what have you, we've talked about the shadows and whatnot. Talk about flight. I am curious to know, and of course, we have these comparisons to the vampires that we know of in lore. But like you said, he's a little bit of an outlier. So how strong is he? Is he able to lift cars? Is he, knocking out buildings? How strong is he, if we can quantify that?
Right. I would say the average vampire is probably like Captain America, like just enhanced. You know what I'm saying? Because I've never been a fan of like overpowered characters.
Yes.
Like I really kind of like it. Just give them a little edge. I think it's a lot more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like and there are vampires, of course, the older ones are more powerful. So the older ones are going to be able to have that kind of superpower strength. But the thing about Merce is he's the type of person where he's not even going to really test that. You know what I'm saying? Like he probably doesn't even know how strong he is, because he doesn't really put himself in positions to test it out. You know what I'm saying? So I think he would even be shocked to see how strong he could really be if he really wanted to be, And again, all of that is going to come out,
Okay. And then next up, I got to ask durability, right? What is he tanking? What can he handle?
Man, I don't know. I think we're going to find out in this Epiphany engine, because he's like, I think he might, I don't know if he's the only not superpower, like superhero.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't seen everybody. I've seen a lot of them, but most of them seem pretty straightforward as far as superheroes go. So I'd be interested to know that myself. He's never really he's never gotten beat up. But I would say as durable as the normal vampire. Like I think you can cut his head off. You can stab him. He's going to regenerate. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's like invulnerable, but he will, unless it's killed by the traditional way, he will like regenerate.
Okay. And then, of course, we talk about vampires here. Speed. how fast is he moving? Is he dodging bullets or?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just trying to give him a power set, like what I think. I've never thought about any of this because it's just not the type of book that it is.
No,
But
fair enough.
these are good questions because it's got me thinking, because in the upcoming issue he is going to be fighting, especially when he have you read is Radamez in that first issue?
Yeah. Yes, he
Okay,
is.
yeah, so when he faced, there's going to be a time where he is going to have to kind of put up or shut up. But yeah, I hadn't thought about that, man. I like to think he is just as durable as your typical vampire. Nothing really special. The thing about Merce is he's very unassuming. Like if he
Okay.
walked in the room, he wouldn't stand out. Other than just kind of looking like kind of creepy or just kind of off to itself, but he wouldn't he's not going to have a bunch of people turn and look at him really. So
Got you.
but I like that because it kind of masks how ruthless and how deadly he can be if he wants to be, and that he has been in the past. Because even when he was a mercenary, this was he was killing people, but for him, he already killed people to survive, so it kind of felt like overkill for him, which is why he didn't stay with. But yeah, he's very powerful. He's very deadly. He just doesn't really like to use it.
Okay. No, fair enough. And yeah, and let me know if I'm doing too much because, like you said, it's not necessarily that type of story, right? It's not, there's the hero, there's the villain, and I'm, I gotta save the day and stop this building from falling type thing. I
Right.
definitely
These are still great questions, though, man. These are still great questions.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So about those kind of extra abilities you have, right? Does he get, tired out from utilizing, say, that shadow manipulation? I think is a safe way of describing that kind of shadow traversal, if you would. Does he get kind of tired out from utilizing that, or is that kind of something that he can continuously do? I know there's that narcoleptic kind of thing that you talk about towards the beginning and throughout the course of the issues there, but does that play a factor in that ability?
Well, yeah, actually it does. Because the thing about the town, of course, we know that it blocks out the sun, so he's able to walk around day or night. But the issue with that is his body still knows the difference. He knows when 24 hours has passed and then you haven't rested. So even if you're fit to walk around, you're still biologically not as you should be. So sometimes in key moments, he'll be weak, or he just won't be as strong as he can be because he hadn't gotten that rest. So that's really the only way that's the only way that he's really weakened, and he just kind of discovered that recently because somebody told him that. Actually, I think in volume 2 they kind of talk about that, where I think somebody says something. I'll let you read it. I see.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, it's just he gets weak just from basically not getting rest, not getting his sleep.
Okay. So if he gets that together, none of his abilities are really going to be wearing him out at all. It's just a matter of taking care of himself.
Yes.
Okay.
Basically.
So, okay. I really do love the shadow traversal thing. That's super awesome to me. Like one of my things, when somebody's like, "What powers do you want?" Like spatial manipulation is always my go-to answer. There's so much you can do with that.
I'm sorry. I wish I had some better powers for you, man.
No. That's perfect. No, we've, some of the interviews in season 2, right? We had Alfred Page's Pinpoint. He's a regular guy. You know what I mean? He's a soldier, but we were able to really narrow down what all can you do? What's his level of durability and stuff. So no, powers or no powers, trust me, these end up just fine. These end up just fine. Because a small tangent. I love trying to figure out how regular human character is going against Superman, right? What kind of thought process was their ingenuity and cunning? What have they gotten through in the course of their story, right? And how is that going to play a factor into this new matchup? So no, trust me, we can come up with something. We write some scenarios and stuff out. It's pretty neat.
Right.
Hopefully
the writers figure it out, or they're gonna have Merce just tattooing everybody, tattooing all. Everybody.
Listen, make that canon everywhere.
Get their epiphany tattoos on their arm. That's cool too, man. Hey, that's cool.
He's like, I'm just glad to be in there.
Yeah, man.
Get Merce.
I can't whoop none of y'all, but I'll do y'all some good tats. I got you.
Listen, look, like you said, he's unassuming now. You know what I mean? Now, can he turn others into vampires?
Yes, he can. He can.
Okay, just wanted to verify because now, right? If he's unassuming and nobody's paying attention, push come to shove, he could have a whole squad with him.
Yeah, he could, but like I said, that's not what he wants. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because and mainly because he's just not mentally. It's for the same reason he doesn't like being around vampires. So he's definitely not going to create one if he could help it. You know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So let me ask this then. So does he have like abilities to like hypnotize people and that kind of stuff that we've seen in other
He does.
more?
And I forgot
Yeah.
he can do the Jedi mind trick thing to get what he wants, and I think he did it. I think I have him doing it a couple times, but yeah, he does do the mind persuasion.
Okay. No, this is good. So all right. All in all, then. So he's got what other before I even get to that point, were there any other like special abilities that he had outside of ones that we've mentioned so far? The hypnotizing, shadow traversal. Obviously, we talked about strength, durability, some of the speed, his knowledge. Well, we could dive into that a little bit more. How smart is he actually? Obviously, he was an astronaut, so he's pretty smart. How smart is he?
Yeah, Merce is very intelligent. Even when he was a slave, he was the one that would like invent things to like make work go easier for the slaves, like just trinkets or just really inventiveness, which is why he came up with his tattoo machine that's able to suck the blood. It's like that's totally his creation. So and another thing about that is when he does feed off of the blood of people, certain people he could like absorb their knowledge, absorb their say for instance, like I have a scene in a future issue that I'm writing where he like this big tattoo artist that he admires for years and years comes in to get a tattoo by him.
Oh wow.
So when he tattoos him, he's excited because he knows when he drinks this, he's going to be a better tattoo artist because he's taking in some of this guy's essence and some of his talent. You know, so I haven't decided if that's just something unique to Merce and something unique to the way he's feeding, because another downfall of feeding that way is he's not getting the full life force of a person as you do it, fight it directly. So the way he drinks it is kind of like drinking a flat soda. You know what I'm saying? So you're not really getting that pop to it. So so yeah, that's just also another setback. But it all works because he's not fully mentally a vampire anyway. So it all kind of works out. If he was a vampire, like mentally fully like he should be, then he would never think about feeding this way. He would never think about like stealing people's blood and not just outright biting them. You know what I'm saying? So just
he'd be all in.
Yeah, just the fact that he's making these accommodations for humans just lets you know the type of vampire he is, you know?
Okay. So really quick then, weaknesses, right? I do love, I don't know if you want to save that for in the story, right? But if you want to, like I love what you did in regards to the traditional weaknesses of vampires. If you want to touch on that. Okay.
Yeah, so in this world, vampires they're repelled by whatever religious symbol that represents their faith when they were living. So it's just not already just an assumption that a person that's a Muslim would be repelled by the cross when they see it, you know, because that doesn't make any sense. Why would that repel you? So that always was kind of stuck with me, even before I even started writing this. I was like, why is it just assumed that, like, why would that affect somebody if they weren't a Christian? You know what I'm saying? That shame or that repellent from that if it didn't mean anything to them. So I was like, what way can I make it even more, you know what I'm saying? And it's just my little touch of social commentary. It's just my chance to inject my little things I might not say freely or get an opportunity to say. So I just say it through the work. And I just figure, and then the cool thing about Merce is he didn't have any beliefs when he was alive. So none of these things
nothing works.
You know, none of that stuff works. So other than sunlight, other than the walrus tusk or the leopard seal tusk, or was it a walrus? I think it was a walrus.
Yeah, it was a walrus.
It was a walrus, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think originally I had it be like a leopard seal or something crazy. I probably watched some nature video and it was crazy. I was like, that's it. But yeah, what were you talking about? His weaknesses?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that the traditional sun, and yeah, that's it, man. Just the weaknesses are pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Vampire. Which is Dude, which is also because, like, again, if you have him at nighttime or you're in day black, if you will, if you're in that town, there's really nothing anybody could do. And I love that because, again, right, we're like, oh, he's not as strong as a lot of these characters, but what are these characters going to throw at him if
Right.
it's not the sun, if it's not, you know what I mean, if it's not these tusks that they don't know anything about. So
Right.
yeah, there's so much you could do there. So um dang, so he can be knocked out and stuff though, right? Is he?
I don't know. Maybe
Mm,
somebody's strong enough, I guess. I never thought about that, But
okay.
I don't see why not. I don't see why. I mean, have you ever seen a vampire get knocked out?
No,
Then
not that I could think of.
I'm gonna say no. Then it's not gonna happen.
See,
He's not.
that's
My man's not gonna be the first vampire to get knocked out. So no, he can't get knocked
fair
out.
enough.
Not
So
doing
like, so and that's perfect because now it's just like thinking about it. It's like, okay, these durability feats, right? Like it's like, all right, like some random person coming up and trying to punch him. We're just doing blow for blow punch out.
I really feel, I really
Yeah.
feel like he'll be too fast. You know what I'm saying? I think
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll try to evade before he'd even probably even really get involved in like that. But I feel like his speed and I feel like his persuasion would be something that he would use. So I feel like he might be able to talk a person down or talk them into doing what he wants them to do instead. You know what I'm saying? So
See, and are there any kind of caveats to that ability, or is he just able to just, you know what, we're not doing this right now, and then it's just done?
yeah, that's it. I think. I mean, because he's so underpowered already. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Mhm.
really, I think it's good that there's some absolute, that it's something like nobody can get past. So that's going to be it. Yeah, that's it. If you hear it, unless you're, I think like unless you're another vampire, but it only works on humans. So yeah.
Okay, so I do want to ask, when is the next time we can see Day Black? Well, not Day Black, really, but Mercy. When can-
Merce, yeah, you can see him. Actually, you have volume 1, so there is a volume 2 that's out. And last year I did a Kickstarter for the most recent issue, Day Black Reparations, and it was funded. So I just
Okay,
sending all those rewards out last month. So that's the most recent issue. If you go to dayblackcomic.com, you can get them all there.
perfect. Okay. Before we close out, I would love for, of course, you to let everybody know where they can find you, how they can support you going forward. Obviously, you just told us the website, but your social medias and whatnot,
Yeah.
so we can continue supporting.
Yeah, everything is at Keith Cross, and the website is dayblackcomic.com.
Perfect. Keith, thank you again for jumping on this. This is, man, this whole thing with Epiphany Engine, just even in this, just getting to know more about these characters that are out here and chatting
Right.
with new people, man. This has been epic. So thank you.
Thank you, man. I really and I commend you on the format, man, because I've done a million interviews, but never one focusing just on a character. I think that's a really cool thing that I haven't seen anybody else do. So kudos for that.
Yo, thank you. Thank you. That's very encouraging. Thank you. Thank you.
When you do it, because a lot of times interviews can get kind of redundant with the
Yeah.
question. So I can say like this is one interview that I haven't never been asked any of these questions. So
Wow.
kudos.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. And anybody watching or listening right now, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Indie Breakdown. Of course, I'm Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics. You can find us everywhere at Midnight X Comics, except for YouTube and Facebook, where we're just Midnight Comics. Of course, these are going on Patreon. You can watch the video here on Patreon, and most of you guys are listening on Spotify. So thank you guys for that. Don't forget to hit up midnightcomics.org for all the epic stuff that we have going on there. And before I get to rambling, thank you guys for tuning in. And remember, until next time, Midnight is coming.
Peace.